That morning began with a joke that everyone in the lobby laughed at, but by lunchtime it had become the sentence that changed two broken lives forever. A single father, carrying a lunchbox in one hand and his little daughter's forgotten art project in the other, smiled awkwardly after strangers mistook him for the powerful CEO walking beside him. Trying to escape the embarrassment, he laughed and remarked that people should be careful because they might think they were together. Instead of laughing it away like everyone expected, the woman who had built one of the largest engineering companies in the city looked directly at him with quiet honesty and wondered whether that would really be such a bad thing. In that single unexpected moment, every smile around them disappeared. Neither of them realized that dozens of eyes had witnessed the exchange, and before the day was over, rumors, misunderstandings, old wounds, and hidden truths would force them to confront everything they had spent years trying to avoid. If you believe kindness can heal broken hearts, forgiveness can rebuild families, hope can change lives, and second chances deserve to be given, please take a moment to like this video, leave a thoughtful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing community that believes compassion always matters. Graham Mercer had never imagined his life would become so ordinary after once dreaming so big. Years earlier he had studied mechanical design, hoping to start his own restoration workshop, but those dreams quietly disappeared after losing his wife during a sudden illness shortly after their daughter Clara was born. Since then, every decision he made centered around making sure his little girl never felt abandoned. Every morning began with school lunches, neatly braided hair learned through endless online tutorials, laundry folded before sunrise, and long hours repairing industrial equipment for a contracting company. His clothes were always clean but worn, his smile genuine but tired, and his greatest source of pride was hearing Clara tell her classmates that her father could fix almost anything except sadness. Across the city, Celeste Hawthorne had everything people associated with success. Her company occupied an impressive glass headquarters, business magazines praised her leadership, and investors admired her fearless decisions. Yet beneath the polished confidence lived someone carrying years of loneliness that no amount of achievement had erased. She had inherited responsibility for the company after her father suffered a debilitating stroke, sacrificing friendships, relationships, and personal happiness to protect thousands of employees. The world admired her strength because no one ever saw how exhausting it had become pretending she never needed anyone. Fate brought them together through a routine maintenance contract. Graham's employer had assigned him to inspect specialized machinery installed inside Celeste's headquarters. He arrived carrying his familiar toolbox while Clara, whose school unexpectedly closed for a teacher training day, accompanied him after promising to spend the afternoon quietly reading in the reception lounge. The little girl greeted everyone with cheerful politeness that immediately softened the atmosphere of the otherwise formal building. Celeste noticed them almost instantly while walking toward an executive meeting. She paused only briefly after seeing Clara carefully helping an elderly receptionist gather scattered paperwork from the polished floor. The child asked for nothing in return and simply smiled before returning to her book. That simple act lingered in Celeste's thoughts longer than she expected because kindness without an audience had become something she rarely encountered. Throughout the morning Graham focused entirely on his work. He refused shortcuts, documented every concern carefully, and even repaired a dangerous defect that technically fell outside his assignment because he believed someone could eventually be injured if it remained unnoticed. He submitted the report without requesting additional payment or recognition, believing responsibility mattered more than convenience. Around midday the elevators became crowded as executives, clients, and visitors crossed paths in the bright lobby. Graham had just collected Clara after finishing his inspection when the little girl stumbled slightly while balancing her art project. Instinctively Celeste reached out to steady both father and daughter before the colorful cardboard model slipped onto the marble floor. Several visitors smiled warmly at the unexpected picture of the successful executive standing beside the caring father and his daughter. Someone jokingly remarked that they looked like a happy family. Embarrassed by the sudden attention, Graham laughed and made the light-hearted comment that people should be careful because they might think they were together. Then came the answer nobody expected. Celeste looked at him with surprising calm, her expression carrying neither sarcasm nor amusement. She simply wondered whether that would really be such a bad thing. Silence swept across the lobby, the comment spread through the building within minutes, changing slightly every time someone repeated it. Some claimed the CEO had publicly confessed feelings for a contractor. Others insisted the single father had been secretly meeting her for months. Gossip traveled much faster than truth, and by early afternoon both Graham and Celeste found themselves becoming unwilling subjects of conversations they never started. For Graham, the rumors created immediate problems. Several co-workers teased him relentlessly, while others accused him of seeking special treatment. His supervisor questioned whether professionalism had been compromised despite finding absolutely no evidence of misconduct. Graham felt humiliated because he had spent years earning respect through honesty, only to watch assumptions threaten his reputation in a single afternoon. Celeste faced criticism of a different kind. Members of the board quietly expressed concern about public perception. A few influential investors hinted that personal distractions could weaken confidence in her leadership. Instead of asking whether the rumors were true, they focused entirely on how they appeared. Their reactions reminded Celeste that many people valued appearances more than character. The situation might have faded quickly if not for Clara. While waiting near the reception area, she accidentally overheard adults mocking her father. They suggested he hoped to improve his life by getting close to a wealthy executive. The little girl never interrupted them or defended him. She simply lowered her eyes and quietly folded the edges of her drawing until the paper wrinkled beneath her tiny fingers. When Graham noticed her unusual silence during the drive home, she finally asked whether people always believed bad things before good ones. The innocent question broke something inside him that he realized that protecting his daughter meant more than providing food and shelter. It meant showing her how dignity survives even when unfair judgment surrounds it. The following morning Graham considered requesting another assignment, hoping distance would end the rumors. Instead, he arrived exactly on time because abandoning responsibility would only strengthen false assumptions. He worked with the same dedication as before, refusing to let embarrassment change his principles. Celeste admired that quiet resilience. She began noticing details overlooked by everyone else. Graham always greeted maintenance staff by name. He cleaned his workspace before leaving. He thanked security officers and receptionists with equal respect. He never complained despite obvious financial struggles. Everything about him reflected consistency rather than performance. Meanwhile, Graham slowly discovered another side of Celeste hidden behind magazine headlines. He watched her personally comfort an employee whose husband required emergency surgery. He saw her postpone an important meeting so she could attend a scholarship presentation for interns from disadvantaged families. He noticed she listened far more than she spoke. Neither of them resembled the people described by gossip. Days later, an unexpected crisis shook the company. One of the manufacturing systems failed during an important demonstration for international partners. Engineers struggled to identify the cause while executives panicked over the possibility of losing a multi-million-dollar contract. Graham happened to be completing unrelated maintenance nearby when he quietly recognized a chain reaction caused by a small overlooked calibration error. Without seeking attention, he explained the issue respectfully and suggested a solution. The repair worked, production resumed, the demonstration continued successfully, the contract remained secure. Many executives praised the engineering team without realizing Graham's contribution until Celeste personally corrected the record. Standing before senior leadership, she made certain everyone understood that the company had been saved by someone whose integrity exceeded his job description. For the first time in years, Graham received recognition based entirely on merit. Even more importantly, Clara happened to witness the applause while visiting after school. The pride shining in her eyes became worth more than any promotion. As weeks passed, public curiosity gradually disappeared, replaced by genuine respect. Graham and Celeste occasionally shared lunch breaks in the company cafeteria, always accompanied by conversations about family, responsibility, and resilience rather than wealth or status. Celeste admitted that success had often left her surrounded by people who admired her position instead of understanding her loneliness. Graham confessed that grief had convinced him happiness belonged to other people. Their friendship grew naturally because neither tried to rescue the other. They simply offered understanding without judgment. One bright afternoon, Clara presented Celeste with a handmade drawing. It showed 3 people standing beneath a large tree, smiling beneath the warm afternoon sun. At the bottom she had carefully written that families are sometimes built by kindness before they are built by anything else. The simple drawing moved Celeste more deeply than expensive awards ever had. She framed it inside her office instead of displaying corporate achievements. Months later the board organized a community celebration recognizing employees and local volunteers whose compassion had strengthened the company's culture. Graham received an award for exceptional integrity. Celeste received recognition for expanding educational programs benefiting struggling families. Yet the loudest applause arrived when Clara unexpectedly hugged them both after they stepped off the stage. No speeches were needed. Everyone understood that genuine respect had replaced shallow assumptions. The joke that once fueled gossip had become a reminder that appearances reveal very little about the human heart. Graham eventually reopened his dream of owning a restoration workshop with support from people who finally believed in his abilities. Celeste invested not because of affection or obligation but because she believed talent deserved opportunity. Their partnership reflected trust earned through character rather than circumstance. Whether their friendship eventually became something deeper mattered far less than the lesson they shared with everyone around them. They had proven that kindness grows strongest when people stop assuming the worst about strangers. Forgiveness becomes possible when pride gives way to understanding. Hope returns when ordinary people choose compassion over judgment. Clara grew up remembering not the painful rumors but the extraordinary day she watched adults replace suspicion with respect. She learned that dignity cannot be stolen by gossip, that honesty eventually finds its voice, and that the people worth keeping in your life are those who recognize your character before your circumstances. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Before you go, please leave a meaningful comment and tell us what you believe matters most. Judging people by first impressions, or giving them the chance to reveal who they truly are. As the warm afternoon sunlight poured through the company courtyard, Graham, Celeste, and Clara walked forward with peaceful smiles, knowing that the greatest second chances are not created by luck or wealth but by ordinary acts of kindness that quietly transform ordinary days into unforgettable beginnings.